I look incredibly tired today. Look at those bags. I assure you I'm not, but I certainly look it. Anyway, today we're talking about 5 products that I have been either sent, actually I think most of these, other than one, I've purchased myself, and I want to tell you about what I've been using them for and why I really like them. I was trying to figure out whether any of these warrant their own video, and I thought, well, I'll just include them all as one big video, and then if you like any of them, you can take a look at them in a little bit more detail. So let's get right into it. So the first product is actually something that was sent to me from a company in Scotland called BLINDSPOT. Now this is actually a prototype of a unit currently in Kickstarter phase. If you're interested, I will put all the links down below for you. And they sent this to me to get my thoughts on it and see what I think and to try it out, see how it works. And the reason I agreed to this product being sent to me is because I think it's something that a lot of you guys might actually find pretty good use for. Essentially, it is a grip in a cage system that can power your camera, so you've no need to use batteries. I've got my own little plate on here, but this is a system that has a 10,000 milliamp battery built into it. It has 2 USB ports, USB-C, and then a little output here which you can plug a dummy battery into, like this little guy right here, and then it powers your Sony camera or whichever camera you want. You just buy the right dummy battery for it. The nice thing about it is because it's a grip, you can mount a bunch of stuff to it as well, so it's kind of an all-in-one unit. It's covered in 1/4" thread mounts. It has a NATO rail on the side there, and as you'll see, I've got my Peak Design anchors attached to it. It's got 3 mounting points, one there, and one just there as well. So you can pretty much use it as one system to cover you for everything. So if we were to take the battery out of my A7 III right here, let's just pop this to the side, and then we put a dummy battery in. Put you in right there. Take the battery door off because we don't need that right this second. And then we attach it all up. I've got my own plate on here, which I like to use. And then turn this on. Perfect. And it gives you a little readout on the side there in terms of your battery level, and then if you wanted to change the output that's coming from this, because it can support higher outputs too, you can do that. And now I can just turn the camera on, and there you go. You see I've got full power for my A7 III. And that's a pretty cool little unit. So the big benefit with this is it's gonna give you a lot more battery power than your typical battery would. So in terms of A7 III, it's gonna give you the equivalent of 2.5 Z batteries, which is quite a big deal, really. You could shoot an entire day. For example, a wedding, I would normally only shoot a wedding with 2 batteries. So you could shoot an entire wedding just with this. If you have a Sony camera that supports the NP-FW50 batteries, these little tiny smaller ones here, it will give you the equivalent of 5 of these batteries. For a wedding, I would typically use up to 5 of these batteries. So again, it would cover me for a full day. Use a GH5, it's the equivalent of 3 batteries. A Fuji X-T3 is the equivalent of 4.5 of those. Or if you wanted to power a GoPro, 8 GoPro batteries. So it gives you a significant amount of power. So if you are interested in picking this up, I'll put the Kickstarter link down below for you. I think they're expected to start delivering early next year. But yeah, it's a very interesting product, something that a lot of people I think can find use in, because a lot of people want to use a cage, mount a whole bunch of different things, and have additional power as well. So it's a pretty cool little system. And even as a prototype, everything's made of aluminium here, not aluminum, aluminium. And it just works really well. I'm pretty impressed with it so far. So thank you for sending that over, BLINDSPOT. Pretty impressed. The next product is the AirPods Pro. And yes, I know there's a million reviews out there. I'm not gonna give you a review on these. What I wanted to do is show you as an editor, as someone that spends a substantial amount of time on that computer right there, editing every week, being able to just cancel out sound with the active noise cancellation in these and focus on my work is a really big deal. I did own the Bose QC35s before, but to pack those, to travel with those, to even throw those in a bag for the day, they're big, they're cumbersome, so these having active noise cancellation in that little tiny little size there was a really big deal for me. So what I want to actually do is try and mimic how these sound to me when I turn the active noise cancellation on, because you really don't know how these are until you actually try them. So the way I'm going to do that is I have a fan right here, which I'm going to turn on to create some ambient sound, and I'm going to turn these on in my ear, and then when I get to the edit, I'm going to attempt to edit the sound so that it sounds exactly how it sounds to my ear. Obviously I can't record how it sounds in my ear because it would require a teeny tiny little microphone that probably doesn't exist, at least I don't own. So we're gonna edit it in post and hopefully it turns out, and if you're watching this then it means it probably did turn out. So good. So what we'll do is we will turn the fan on. Let's go high, away from the mic. So that creates some ambient noise, which I hope you can probably hear. And we'll pop these in. And basically these turn on automatically when you put both in. On the stem here, you click and hold for about a second and it toggles active noise cancellation off, and then transparency mode, which basically takes the sound from outside and transmits it through your ear. So a microphone's in here, records that sound and then transmits it in complete real time what it sounds like. But then when you turn the active noise cancellation on, it cancels all that out. So it's such a big difference. Off. On. Hopefully that works out. It does do that little fade and it's really nice. It's very, very strange, very surreal. Until you've witnessed it and tried it out, it's very strange to explain, and that's why I wanted to show you. So that is the AirPods Pro and why I like to use them as an editor. Next up is a product I've actually been using for the past couple of months. Velcro's not gonna sound good on the mic there, is it? The Rode Wireless Go, wireless audio solution for people that shoot video. Essentially with these, and I'm sure you've seen a review on them before, but just to give you a brief overview of how they work, you have a, in layman's terms, a sender and a receiver. Both of these have cold shoe mounts on the top there, which they look like clips, but they're actually a cold shoe mounts as well. If I can show you right here on the A7 III, so it just clips right in there, which is a really smart design, because as well as being able to clip onto the cold shoe mount right there, you can also do this. May not look great, but it works fantastic for recording audio in a pinch if you need to. Turn both of these on and they just seamlessly connect straight out of the box. So let's say, for example, I wanted to pop this on me and we were doing an interview, or I wanted to record a video like this. And then the other one, which is the receiver. So sender on here, receiver on here, and then it comes with a little 3.5mm cable, and then you plug your audio in there and then into the microphone port, and then any audio that's coming directly from here gets put straight into the camera's microphone port there. So you're getting a real-time feed directly from this onto the video track, and it works absolutely flawlessly fantastic. If you watched my B-roll video recently that I shot, a 30-minute long one, I actually shot some of that with this. I've been using this at weddings, for speeches. Even if I don't have a good audio track from the DJ, what I actually do is I tape this to the mic for the speeches, or I pop this on the podium where they're doing the speeches, and it picks up a really clean signal, sends it to my camera, which I've got perched right at the back with a 7200 on, and I have a fantastic audio source. Sometimes I just use it as a backup source, even if I have a DJ soundboard system that lets me plug in. I use this as well because it just gives me a really good backup. And to be honest with you, a lot of the time I've actually just opted to use this because it's really that good. The only thing I will say is the battery life isn't the greatest. I would say I probably get about 5 hours off of a charge, and it does seem to take quite a while to charge, even with USB-C. But aside from that, the Rode Wireless Go is a fantastic little audio solution for all kinds of things. I just got rid of the fan, if you wonder why it just disappeared there. I noticed that and it was bothering me, so probably gonna screw with my continuity of this video, but don't care. Next up is something that I've been using for events recently to light in very certain particular situations. So sometimes you just need a little bit of a hair light, or you need almost like a spotlight on someone. This isn't a spotlight, but it's close. It's got the barn doors on it, so you can angle the light a little bit, but it does peek through the edges here. But essentially this is a battery powered light, which you can plug in with your regular cable if you wanted to. But it just takes the Sony, I always forget the name of these, the MPF 550 batteries. So it takes a battery on there, and then that gives you power. And you can control the power on the back. You have a coarse, so it gives you bright control, like as in it goes from not being bright to bright quite quickly, or if you want more finer control, you can click the button there. It's very straightforward, very easy to use. Battery button on the back there tells you how much battery is left. On, off, that's it really. Very straightforward, very easy to use. Doesn't appear to have any issues with flickering, at least in my experience. Lots of LEDs on there. And it's a bright light, and it does the trick when you need it to. And this was, I think, like $80 Canadian when I bought it. And the battery life lasts for a very long time. If you want to get even more battery life out of it, just buy a bigger one. And you'll get a ton of battery life out of that, and you don't need any power. And in a pinch, sometimes when you need you need a light, this guy will do the trick really well, and I really like this. Because they're so cheap, you could have a couple of them if you need to. This is the, I don't think I said the name, this is the YONGNUO, I think that's how you pronounce it, YN216. It's made entirely of plastic, but I've dropped it. It's been in my bag and it's been thrown around and in my gear bag for tripods and stuff, and it does take a beating in there, and it's held up pretty well, so pretty good. On the bottom, you do have a cold shoe mount. It also has a 1/4" thread there, so if you wanted to mount it directly to a light stand or just on top of your camera, you could do that. So that's the YONGNUO YN216. Pretty decent little LED light for when you need lighting in a darker or specific kind of situation. Like that guy. And then finally, I've been looking for a tiny tripod for a while now. So I was at a expo in Canada the other day, a camera expo in Canada. I was in Toronto at a photo video expo, and I like these expos because you physically get to try out the products. All the big companies have all the products there. Also got to try the Sigma FP, which looks like a very interesting camera. But anyway, I digress. So I tried out all these tripods, reading reviews, looking at things online, pictures and specs is great, but until you physically try a product within your hands, you might have a different opinion about it. So I picked up this little guy here. This is a tiny little travel tripod made by MEFOTO. It's called the ROADTRIP S. It's made entirely of aluminium, not aluminum, aluminium. Has a ball head on it, which you can lock. It uses the regular style plates that I use when I'm shooting photos, not in a cage. And yeah, I quite like this. Look how small that folds up. And it fits into the, let me show you. Peak Design, everyday, 20 liter. This is really hard to do on a slippery table. It fits into the side of the Peak Design there, and you can just wrap one of the straps that's connected into the bag round to that to give you a little bit more support, but it fits into that. As you know, I do some hiking films now and then, and normally I carry around this giant Benro tripod, which I love. It's carbon fiber, it's huge, it's great for a really, really locked off shot, but it's heavy. And I wanted something a little bit more compact, and I did settle on this, and I really, really like it. It's got a good weight to it, it feels solid, it extends pretty far up, and when I did the stress test on it, so you lean on it and you're moving around on the legs, it really doesn't have that much flex. So I'm quite impressed with this little tripod so far, and I really like it, and it was $129.99 Canadian. I'll put all the prices and the links and everything for all the stuff I've talked about down below. But I'm liking this so far. It comes in a couple of different colors if you wanted to get it in a different color, but like all other camera equipment, it comes in black, and I like that. It's minimalist, even though I'm not a minimalist. Definitely the opposite of a minimalist. I'm probably more of a maximalist. I'm really happy with that purchase. I've been looking for one of those for a while, so very happy with that. And there's one specific thing that I really like about this that you can do that the Peak Design boasts that it can do as well, and I mean, there's a lot of tripods that really can do this. One hand, you can unlock all these twisty things here. Fully extend it. One hand, lock them all back off. Good to go. So that's 5 products I've been using that I quite like. I figured I'd make this video because some of you might like these products as well. These are things that I use on a regular basis that have come in really handy, or things that I've been looking at for a while, and I'm now very happy that I purchased. You know, sometimes when you buy something and you instantly get buyer's remorse, yeah, haven't got that with any of these. I'll put all the links down below, the Kickstarter information down below, and yeah, that's today's video. I appreciate you watching. I like doing these kinds of videos because everybody likes to see all the different things that people are using. Everyone has their own style of shooting, everyone has their own different equipment that they use, and it's interesting to watch these videos. I watch these videos all the time. So there we go. Appreciate you watching today. I'll see you guys in the next video. Actually, here's a little bonus that BLINDSPOT sent me. This is called the crack light. So this is something else that they're going to be coming out with. It's a 760 lux light, 5600 Kelvin for your color temperature. CRI is 95, TLCI, I don't know what TLCI is, but that's 97, and it's waterproof. It's USB powered, it's tiny. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll have seen me compare this to some other lights. Here is an iPhone 11 Pro Max. Look how thin that is in comparison. Look at it, it's tiny. Very flexible, and it's just USB powered, so you can plug it in and you got light.